Thank you. It is good to be back home. North Carolina has been the birthplace of many movements for justice, for freedom, for equality, for equity. And I want to thank the North Carolina League of Conservation Voters for giving me the invitation to come back home. Raleigh, North Carolina, Wake County, and even though North Carolina has 100 counties, there's something that connects all of these counties. It's people, it's land, it's water, it's air. Our state, even when during the height of the civil rights movement, when the student sit-in movement started in Greensboro, I was over in high school in Oxford at one of the all-black high schools. Our state has a legacy of historically keeping people separated, keeping some people down and pushing some people up. But I thank God that I have lived long enough to see not just the antecedents of the past, but we all have inherited, I think, a legacy. And that's what I want to talk about tonight. Conservation is about conserving the land, the water, and the air. But conservation is also about conserving the quality of life of the people. And next couple of weeks, actually the actual date was September 15th, 1982, 40 years ago in Warren County, North Carolina, where some companies from the northeast of the United States had previously dumped thousands and thousands of gallons of PCB, polychlorinated biphenyl, very carcinogenic, very cancer-causing toxins on the highways of North Carolina. And of course, Governor Hunt at that time ordered that the state would remove the toxins from these highways. The problem is the toxins had then seeped into the soil. So rather than just having thousands of gallons of toxins, now you have tons and tons of PCB-laden soil. Of the 100 counties, for some reason the state chose the most predominantly black county. For some reason the state chose the county that had a shallow aquifer. That means the water level is very close to the top, and people in that county, agricultural rural county, got its water from wells. I remember growing up even in Oxford, we first had wells. We didn't have public water. The last place you want to do is to put 50 tons of PCB-laden soil in any community that has a shallow aquifer level. But because Warren County was predominantly black, predominantly rural, predominantly poor, there was a notion here in Raleigh, the state capital, well, we can triage those people. Those people. And Lord knows, the last thing I wanted to do is get arrested again in North Carolina. After spending most of the 1970s as a member of the Wilmington 10, and I really want to thank Deborah Maxwell, not only for your leadership of the NAACP across the state, for what you also do in New Hanover County. A county that is still struggling for racial justice and equity. But the point is, when the United Church of Christ Commission for Racial Justice asked me to return to Warren County, it was not a county that I did not know. My local church was in Warren County, Oak Level United Church of Christ. I was an ordained minister in the United Church of Christ. So I figured I would go home and have a prayer meeting. But it came to a point that young people and women, particularly women, in North Carolina, let me say something about women. I think that the Supreme Court of the United States made a mistake. You take the rights of women, you take away the rights of women, you take away the rights of family. You take away the rights of community. And so, Chavis has told me, look, man, you only have 15 minutes. So I'm going to pack all this in. And I see Marcus Bass back there. I know I got to talk about getting out this vote. And I know Larry Hall is here somewhere. There he is. We all have to hold each other accountable, not just to the time, but how we spend the time. And I will assure everybody here tonight, I did not come to point a finger at anybody. I came here, hopefully that my words would encourage all of us, black, white, Latino, Native American, Asian, whatever our ethnicity, whatever our religion, whatever your social location, whatever your economic status, there's something that we all need to do together. Together. At the age of 14, I learned something from Dr. King that I hold true for me to this day. And that is, if we find a way how to work together, how to stand together, how to organize together, how to mobilize together, how to vote together. This is not about red state versus blue state, Democrat versus Republican. This is about doing what we know is right for all of God's people. And there is no distinction that we should try to separate people based on race or religion or anything else. So on that historic day, September the 15th, 1982, the only thing that we could think about is how to stop these dump trucks. We believe in nonviolent civil disobedience. So we laid down on the highway in front of the trucks. And I thank those courageous, first women and children, and then the pastors. And Marcus, now I understand that, and I'm a minister, so I'm going to say this from within the bounds of the church. This is no time for any church to be silent. This is no time for people to be selective what scripture you quote and then use the quoting of scripture as an excuse not to get involved in the movement. We need the movement. They say in my home state, this is my home state, they say this is the Bible state. Well, if there's any state ought to be practicing the Bible, it ought to be North Carolina. Elizabeth, there's a scripture in the Psalm that says that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. The environment belongs to God. We have a responsibility to nurture what God has given us, to cultivate what the Lord has given us, to preserve and to conserve what the Lord has given us, and to share what the Lord has given us. We can't deny what holds us together. We're part of one human family. We're part of one human family. In fact, Elizabeth, the acronym of the North Carolina League Conservation Voters, I would say that we're in the North Carolina League of cousin voters. We're all cousins up in here. We're all interconnected. But the thing that we all should be willing to do is to speak out and to stand up and not be silent at a time of great challenge. There are challenges to our democracy. There are challenges to the future of our nation. I'm glad that the chairman of the foundation mentioned the historical auspices and the historical context of how this dwelling got built and who built it and for what purpose. But this is 2022. We can't live in the past. We learn from the past. People ask me, well, Ben, why aren't you bitter of the way the home state treated you? I'm not bitter. This is my home. Even though I was serving the longest of a 282-year sentence, 34 years, I made way, thank God, that Terry Sanford was the president of Duke University at the time, so I got myself accepted to Duke. And I finished Duke magna cum laude with a master's degree while I was in prison. Why am I telling you that? Because no matter what your circumstances may be, we can always use wherever we are and do better. Don't you let nobody tell you your vote doesn't count. Don't you let nobody tell you that the people who are repressing the vote, the people who are denying the vote, are the same people who deny climate change, are the same people that deny women's rights, are the same people that deny civil rights, are the same people that deny environmental rights. But guess what? We represent all the people that can have a movement so effective, we can start replacing those people in elected law. I know there's some candidates here. We need more progressive candidates elected in North Carolina. We need more progressive candidates elected in North Carolina. So I come tonight not as the prophet of doom and not somebody who is nervous about tomorrow. I want us to use tonight. I want us to use every breath that we take as a reaffirmation of the work not only that needs to be done, but the work that we're going to do together. Over the next 60 days before the November the 8th election, I'm hoping that North Carolina has the largest voter turnout in North Carolina history. That is the way. That is the way. There's only one antidote to the poison of voter suppression. That's overwhelmingly voter turnout by all communities, all 100 counties, all 100 counties, all 100 counties. The largest voter turnout in North Carolina history. And then we have reason to come back to this building and have a real party. So, in my conclusion, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. The fullness. I'm looking at your beautiful faces. There's diversity here. And now we know that the more diverse a movement is, the stronger that movement is. Even in corporate America, it's not a debate. Corporate leaders are finding out that diversity actually is good for business. So this is not about twisting somebody's arm to do something that's not right. This is about encouraging people to do what we all know is right, and that is to treat each other with respect, to love one another, and stand for one another. So I'm so grateful. I know a lot of people have been thanking me, but I thank you. I thank my parents. I thank my grandparents. I thank my great-great-great-grandparents, one of which John Chavis Park is named of here in Raleigh. He's my great-great-great-great-grandfather. And at the time, in the 1700s, he actually fought in the war against the British. Why? Because his family owned land. And the thing today is, as we look at the state of North Carolina, I believe that North Carolina can not just help lead a new South, but I believe a new nation. We're at a great opportunity, and I hope us leave here with the North Carolina League of Conservation Voters, taking the charge, Elizabeth, you know, waking people up and keeping people, and I know there's some debate about the term woke, and I know there's some debate about critical race theory, but look, there is no debate about the truth. There is no debate about facts. There is no debate about whether or not science is science. And so we've got history on our side, and we have this present moment on our side. So let's go to work. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. Thank you very much.